Welcome back, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in
Thank you.
on another episode of Coffee Breakup. Hope everyone is having a great day.
Yes, start of the day.
Start of the day.
Yeah.
Today's gonna be a big one. It's somewhat
Highly debated.
yes, somewhat
one that we've been
polarizing.
going back and forth for a while.
Exactly, but I wanted to bring it to y'all's attention.
Yeah, no, and
And
too
so-
bad. Dude, last night someone asked me this.
Really?
Yeah, bro. Before I went to sleep, someone wrote to me and they were like, "Oh, you need to discuss. Well, you want to announce
Yes.
the topic before I?"
Okay. I'll read it.
All
So the other day I asked a question on Twitter, and I got a lot of feedback. So the question is, would you date somebody who has kids?
Right, and that's exactly what they had asked me yesterday, saying like, "Oh, can I suggest a topic idea? Like what do you think about people who date someone who's either recently divorced and has kids?"
Right.
And I was like, "Too bad."
Right.
We've been going back and forth, and we just recently had this conversation. We were just driving around, and we were going back and forth on
Yes.
that topic.
Just to give people some content. So I went on Twitter. I did a poll for 24 hours, and I asked that question: whether or not you would date somebody who has kids. And 250 people voted.
It's a lot of people.
It is a lot of people.
It's a good enough amount of people to have like a
kinda
solid.
exactly have some kind of content. 51% said no, they would not, and then 49%
Really?
yes. Are you surprised by that? It's pretty.
I mean, the
super
fact that
close.
it's 50-50, I think it's. I didn't know it was so split.
Yes.
You know?
I honestly thought the gap would have been bigger, and as far as saying more people would say no.
It also depends on who are the people that, because remember, this isn't like a controlled experiment
Yes,
that we
it's
don't
not-
know.
yeah.
It's a scientific method and stuff, but it's enough to really figure out, where the audience is coming from. So like the fact that it was so divided right down the middle. Is a
Right.
little-
I had people reach out and they're like, "Hey, I've done it, and worst experience ever." And so they've been
Really?
like kind of scarred. And I have from family experiences. Like I
Yeah.
my sisters, they've dated somebody who had kids,
Okay.
and it's been really really hard.
Really? So
Yeah.
so then when it comes down to it, would you date someone that already has kids?
I'll be 27. Is it a definitive no? No, it isn't.
No, I'm asking you right now.
Would I-
right now,
right now, I would not. No.
You wouldn't date someone
No.
who has kids.
No,
Why not?
at this point.
Why not?
Because I feel like it's a lot of. You have to understand when you date somebody who has kids, the kids will always come first, as they should, but it's like as the other like for the woman, those kids will be the most important thing in her life.
Well,
and
and
that's
even the man's life. Too.
Right,
Like,
yeah,
'cause
yeah,
if
no,
a
of
woman
course,
dates
but-
someone,
yeah.
a man who has
But-
kids, obviously they're gonna come first.
No,
I mean,
of
that's
course,
blood.
but exactly, and it's so you love that person, but the one thing you guys the most important thing to that other person is something you two will never share. It doesn't matter how much you guys love each other; they will never be yours. And then you got it, and then it also depends because
I don't agree with that.
I mean that's how I feel. That's how I see it.
I mean, I would be open to it because you also have to kind of see it from their point of view. Or should we, put them down because they already have kids? So
No,
now, like,
no,
they
but no
can't
one
date
said-
someone?
no
No,
one
but
said-
think about it
no
because
one
it's like
said
you can meet someone who's amazing, who has a great personality, beautiful, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, they have kids. Like, no, I don't want to do it.
But you see that you got to go in.
I just asked you right
Yeah.
now, what would you do? You said you wouldn't.
I wouldn't because I'm 27 years old.
But
Now,
what if that person you think is your soulmate?
if they were my soulmate, I don't
but-
think
but
they
no,
would have
no.
kids. They wouldn't have kids with somebody else if they were
Why
my
not?
soulmate. I
That
don't
has
think
nothing
so.
to do with it.
Yeah, it does.
People make mistakes all the time.
I
Either young
100%.
so you can have like a one night stand with someone super fucked up, but you don't know the next day what happens, and that person comes out pregnant.
Right.
Did you think going into it after that one night in Central that was gonna be your soulmate that you had sex with that night?
No, definitely not.
And now, but they have kids. So if they were my soulmate, they wouldn't have kids.
So the way I see it is if you have to know yourself enough to, for some people this for you maybe that won't be a problem. So you got to go into when you meet somebody. It's one of the we talked about this in the car too, because I had somebody reach out. It's like, what if you like them already and then you find out later on that they have kids? I'm like, how is that even possible?
Right.
Because
that was the
and then
loose.
we talked about it. But like when I meet somebody, and you saying that's it's
I think
off
it's
topic.
absurd.
No, it's not. You're not asking them if they have any STDs. It's kids. They're kids. They're pride and joy. Why would you not say, hey, by the way, I have kids? Not just for them, but also for yourself.
but that's different. Like, I mean,
No, how? How
Because
is
a
that different?
conversation, okay. Because when you start dating someone, remember it's very preliminary. There's no deep context. There's no conversation that goes beyond like the superficial. Yeah, you get to know them a little bit, but on a first date, you're gonna be like, oh, hi, so you have kids?
It depends
It's
what.
like-
It depends what you. Now, if you're like 22, 23,
Do you want to
if
get
you're that
married
young-
someday? Is that what we're gonna ask the girl the first date? Are you looking to get married?
If I go on a date and I'm looking long term, I'm thinking long term. I'll be 27. If the other person does not want to get married, but I do, which I do, why would I continue entertaining somebody?
It's a first date.
I understand that, But if I go on the first and second, when is it okay to ask?
I mean, maybe if you guys start actually dating boyfriend and girlfriend, where it's like an official
No,
exclusivity.
you're gonna wait weeks and
No,
months?
not to find out that they have kids, but then
Or
to then discuss marriage. Because think about it, maybe someone's so against marriage when you start dating them because they haven't found luck with anyone. Then they find you, and they think, damn, this guy's really gonna change the way that I feel about the marriage context. I never felt this way before about someone. Maybe now they're open to marriage. But you think the first day that you date them, oh no, I don't think I'm ever gonna get married. Boom, you cut it.
No, because I don't think so. But if you meet, there's some people say, under no circumstance do I want to get married. Under no circumstance do I want to have
bullshit.
kids. Yes, of course it is.
Yes, but everything can change. Nothing is definitive. You don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. Everybody can say, oh, I know that I'm not gonna have kids.
I understand, but if you want to have kids and you meet another woman that does not want to have kids under no circumstance, why would you keep? And you're thinking long term, you're thinking the future, unless
Right.
you just want to entertain and have fun. Why would you continue with the person who,
Why are you so worried about tomorrow though?
Because either you don't care, or B, you're trying to change them,
No, but
or
yeah,
change how they feel.
But if you're gonna be going into a relationship and your main focus is to change whether they want to have kids or not, that's not why you go into a relationship. You go in there because you like what the person that you see in front of you. You don't know anything about them. You don't know who they are, where they're from, anything. You go in there and that's what you try to figure out. If you can create that foundation that you meet someone that you like, that's when you build on that. But you can't start asking. You meet the person and you're like, where should we put the windows on a house? But you don't do that. That's like asking if they have kids already.
No, that's
you
not,
let that conversation.
But that's not even the same thing, because there's certain things, certain foundations that you have to be on the same page with.
Dude,
if
it's
you're
the
not
first day, you can't. I don't know. I don't see it.
And then I have a lot of people reaching out, and they've been in relationships, and they met somebody, and at first, and they saw the red flags. They're like, oh, he told me he didn't want to have kids. He told me he didn't want to get married. Okay. And then they continue to stick with that person. They're like, oh, whatever. So either they didn't care. They thought, oh, whatever, it's fine. Or B, they were hoping that person would change their mind. And that's when you went slowly, little by little, you're walking a very fine line, because at some point you're going to end up somewhere where you don't want to end up. And either you're going to compromise and not going to have kids, or not going to get married because you love that other person, or B, you're hoping that they will change. And it's like, where is that really? You really want to compromise on certain things?
Yeah, okay,
but
let's look at it. I don't know if it's what devil's advocate or the other way around. However
Right,
you want
right.
to say it. Let's say that you do want to have kids, right?
Right.
But then all of a sudden you date someone, and then you're like, man, right now I don't think that kids is a smart idea. I don't know if I want to do that right now. Because you're so listen, hold on. Okay, but then because you're so focused on you're so focused on your business, you're focused on traveling. Maybe when I'm 35, one, you don't even know if you'll reach 35. Not anything can happen.
Right.
And number two, what if by the time you do get to 35, you're still not ready? And then what if you're talking to your spouse or your partner at this time, saying, oh, like, we're 33, we're getting close to that date that you had in your mind to have kids. We still don't have kids, but you guys are still not ready for kids. Mm-hmm. So then kids never happen. So then where do you position yourself? Like, oh, I always wanted kids. Now we don't have kids. Like, how do you handle that then?
And so
because you're so focused on like, oh, if I want to have kids and you don't want to, then this is never going to work. But what if you guys do want to have kids and then you guys both agree, and then you're the one that says, oh no, we can't have kids now?
I mean, if that's the case, then you got to, at that point, anything can happen, anything can change. But if you change your mind, then you obviously got to part ways.
So if anything can change, why are you going into a relationship? And if they say that they don't want anything, why are you already going to be like, oh, I don't want anything else? Anything can change, right?
Yeah, but like, would you put it?
Checkmate.
Anything can change, but are you really going to get a hope? Meet somebody and hope, okay, they don't want to have kids. So you are saying, okay.
Right, but you also have to understand that this, especially now, because we're 27, we're talking about how we would do it right now based on our own personal lives. Right now, you're saying that if someone were to say, oh, I don't want any kids in the future, like if someone were to ask me, do I want kids? Someday, but if right now, my mindset is not on having kids at all.
And I concur, I agree.
Right, but then like moving down the road, like how would you handle that situation if someone says, oh no, yeah, I don't want any kids at all, but dude, who knows what can happen? Just like you said, anything can change.
Anything can change. It depends. You have to know yourself and what you're willing to accept and what you're not willing to accept. So if you're saying you're open to it and you meet somebody else who's the same page, perhaps someday at this moment right now, I don't see it, but there's always a chance. And that's great. And that's great. And then you could go with the flow and see how it goes. No one's saying, yeah, I have kids next year or 6 months from now or whatever. It's not like a calendar where you can just mark it. Yeah. And I get that. But you have to understand when you meet somebody, it depends also on the age. But I think I'm at an age where I have a pretty good idea of what I want. Do I want kids now? No, I wouldn't even know where to begin.
Yeah.
But down the line, yes, I would love to have some kids. Now, it's funny because when I met my ex, she was very religious and she would go to church every week, and she asked me, not the first date obviously, but at the very beginning that, if I told her like I believe in God, but at that point I didn't even go to church under no circumstance. So, and she accepted it, either with the intention of hoping that it'll change my mind, or that she would either be okay with it, me not going. So there's either two outcomes. Either she didn't.
I'm sorry. What did you say your answer was when that question came up?
That I believe in God, but I wasn't raised in a religious household, and I didn't really care too much for it.
And eventually, after some time,
absolutely,
it changed.
Absolutely, 100%. So it goes both ways. I understand, but if she would have asked, and if I would have said no, I'm an atheist and I don't believe in God under the circumstance, now that's a little different, because you're talking to somebody's ideology who doesn't believe in a higher being, and so it's tricky. Should she have given me the benefit of the doubt that maybe one day he's going to come to a sense? I think there are certain parts in life that you cannot compromise. Religion, marriage, children. Do things change? Yes. do things change? Yes, they do. But am I gonna bet that this person that I see a future with, or I'm trying to build with, is gonna change their mind down the line on an important topic so big? Like I don't understand. I don't really know. You have to understand. You have to really think about that very hard. So I think if you want to take it back to whether or not you want to date somebody who had kids.
So is your concern more about the kids taking up time, or the kids taking up their attention, or are you talking more about like the baby daddy, or at least for us, the baby daddy's still involved? What is your main concern?
I think the big concern is, I think the biggest one that I would think is, I would love for my wife to have my children and my children only. Is that a little bit selfish of me? Sure, it is. But I think
it's also very unfair.
It's like,
okay, so let's put it this way: what if you and your wife have kids?
Right.
You guys divorce. Should you not be allowed to date anyone?
Of course, but you have to find somebody who's okay. There's 7 billion people on this planet. I'm not saying there's not somebody else for you. It's not me. Like if but you have to understand that. You have to understand. Same way, good. You might be very me. I'm a little bit more jealous than maybe you. So.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. So I understand that I can't date everyone, because there's some people where I couldn't do it. Yeah. And
and that's another topic, because you're very. I don't know why you're insecure to that point where you feel like.
It's not an insecurity that I would love that I want my wife to share. And if that's an insecurity, I'm saying
jealous in period. Like for you to be jealous for things, that's like a. But again, that's
that's a different. We talk about that.
We'll get into that.
We have a lot of content for that. But you really have to understand, what you want out of this relationship. And if you're okay with, your wife, your husband, or your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, having kids with somebody else, you have to understand that it's not easy. I've seen it. My oldest, my sister, she's been dating somebody who has kids, and I've seen it. It's hard because, and they're a little older. They're young teenagers, so it's very, very difficult. And not to put too much of the business out there, but I've seen it firsthand, and it's tricky because you have to understand the baby mama, or baby daddy, whatever. They'll always be in the picture, and you never know. There's a very mature. Baby daddies, baby mamas, and they can handle that. But there's also some that aren't at all, and they're gonna make it their mission to make your life a living hell.
I think timing is a big part of it as well, because if you're fresh out of a divorce.
No, they've been divorced for years, and she still makes it a mission to make my sister's life very, very difficult.
That's frustrating.
And it's tricky, and they're older. Late 30s, whatever, and it's like you're not kids anymore. You're not in your 20s where it's okay to act up. It isn't even then, but still, there's some reason cause for it. Makes sense. But dude, you're a grown adult, and you should move on.
Being petty and stuff.
Exactly. Okay. So, to go back, should you ask someone at first? You have to if you're the person who under no circumstance would date somebody, which I had people reach out on. They were like, never, no, absolutely not. Could their
But you
opinion
want to know
change?
why? But you want to know why? I bet you they're so direct to saying that.
Yeah, what? Tell me.
Obviously, because they're not in the situation. Because
Right.
I always say, experience is your best teacher. And
Of
once
course.
it happens to you, that's when you want to change your mind, because it's like, fuck, I didn't think I was gonna be on this side. I have to now think differently. If not, I'm gonna be stuck
Okay.
in my current situation. I bet you a lot of those people that told you that they would never do it is because obviously maybe they're completely single, or they're in a relationship with somebody else. But if they were to have kids, and their relationship were to go to shit, and they split up, now what? Are they not gonna date ever again because
No.
they don't want to? Because they're not gonna put someone else in a position to date them because they already have kids.
No, but do you have to like?
Or do you think that it should be that they can only date another person who has kids also?
That might make it
Which-
easier.
You think it'll be easier?
It might make it easier because both
It's
parties
like a
understand.
square, but
It
like,
is. It is.
You know, there's a lot of moving
moving
parts.
parts. Yes.
And I don't have the experience to speak too much on that. So
Of
I don't want to
course.
get too deep into that.
No.
Because then we'll get chastised
Right.
by people in those situations.
Listen, if you have kids, I feel like they're your pride and joy. Nowadays, you probably will know if somebody has kids based on their social media. But for the sake of argument, I'm sorry. But for the sake of argument, let's say you meet somebody and you don't no mutual friends, you don't know anything about them. If you're the person who has kids, I would speak up. It's not something to be ashamed of. It's not like you don't hide your kids from the world. You should be proud.
but I
and
think
you don't want to waste anybody's time.
Yeah,
like
but that should be a conversation that happens naturally. It shouldn't be like a game of 21 questions where you go in
no,
there and
I'm not saying it in an
no,
integration.
well,
mode.
that's the way that I took it when we first talked about it.
No.
Because you said it was like, oh no, yeah, like I'll ask if they have kids, and it's like you shouldn't ask.
No,
You
but-
should see what if everything else about them is perfect for you, but because they have kids, or if they don't want kids, for example, let's say that they don't want kids at all, then it's like, is that gonna deter you from them? Like everything else could be perfect. Everything else could be literally the way that you would want someone to be. And you're gonna ask them, hey, by the way, what are you looking for? Like, what do you think about kids or whatever? Especially on a first date, which it shouldn't. But if the conversation were to get to that,
it's right now I'm working, just not to get too far off topic. I'm working on a second book, and what I'm currently writing about is that you should pick the lifestyle you want over the person you want, and you have to understand.
Sure.
You have to understand that you might meet an amazing person. They might be perfect and they might be loving and sweet and this and everything. But if you guys don't share some things that you both believe in and you both want, and you're gonna set yourself up for a life full of compromise. So, and this could speak and this could go into a lot of different parts. But if I'm not saying it's a deal breaker, I'm not saying if they tell me to have kids, I'm gonna get up and walk out of the date. I'm not saying that, but like you have to really know yourself and know what you want. And if they say they have kids and you're okay with that, you want to see where it goes, sure, by all means, go for it. But at the same time, don't be afraid to say, hey, like, don't be ashamed if you don't want to be with somebody who has kids. I don't think you want to, pull back on that.
I mean, we always talk about it in other situations. You have to worry about you first.
Okay.
'Cause if you
Yeah,
don't-
of
if-
course.
and I put all the time. If you don't got you, who's gonna get you?
Right.
What's out over there? Oh, technical difficulty, cameraman over there.
Oh my God.
That's fine. I'll cut this part out.
There we go.
Can you fix this on this side too, please? Like, what were we saying?
What was I saying? That when you go on a date with somebody, I don't think it should be taken light, especially if it's a first date or whatever. I mean, I don't know how you approach a date, but like I think I'm not afraid to ask these type of questions. Does it scare?
But why would you want to put someone into that?
No, I mean, first of all, I mean, I have a general
It's like
idea.
speed dating almost.
No,
you sit down.
no.
Hey, do you have kids? Yes. Thank you.
I just said I wouldn't walk away, but I have a pretty good idea if somebody has.
I want to take you on one of those speed
yes,
dating
let's
dates,
do it.
I would love to see the first question is like, hi, do you want kids? No. Nice to meet you.
But like, okay, so just to take, you know me, I love traveling. If I meet somebody when they say that they would hate traveling, amazing
But that's
time.
a passion. No. But,
No,
but
no,
you know
but-
what? No, but that's different because okay, I remember what we were talking about. you have to worry about you first.
Absolutely.
Because if you ain't got you, who's gonna get you?
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
If you have to be happy with yourself and your passions, and you have to be secure of the person that you are and how you want to move forward, and you want to meet, which we've discussed before, someone else that's gonna match that with you. Because you don't want to, we don't want an anchor holding us down when
Right,
we're
right,
moving
right.
forward. You want to have someone who's gonna not only be your match, but to be able to push you forward and continue pushing
Of
you forward.
course.
In this case, you would have to find someone who's willing to travel and wants to be with you and wants to stick with you
Yes.
and live that life
Of course.
with you. But you find that by you worrying about yourself first,
Absolutely.
because you want to
100%.
travel.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be like, oh, I love traveling. You're not like, oh, I can't travel because I have 16 kids. Then you're gonna be like, well, now I'm gonna have to hold off on traveling. You don't want that. That I
Exactly.
understand.
But so you have to, yeah, but you have to. So earlier you said, I'm insecure for wanting to have for my wife to have my kids, and so if
I mean, no, I meant insecure about the jealousy.
okay, well you're saying that jealousy,
sure, yeah.
it goes hand in hand, and that's what you say, and
Right.
and if that makes me jealous or insecure, by all means. But like I just think I would want to share that bond with my wife, and I'm not bashing anybody who. So funny enough, I'm not trying to bounce back to too many topics, but my mom, she had two, she was married before, and so my dad met her with two kids already.
Yeah.
So at the same time, do I think it's fruitless to marry somebody who already has kids? Of course not. And if you're mature enough, it could be great. And me and my dad don't see eye to eye on a lot of things, but I respect him for he never treated me like his kids and his stepkids any differently. And so, but you have to, and for that he is a good man. But you have to really understand if you're okay with that, and if you can put all that aside and start fresh with somebody. And if you can, great, 100%. I salute you, and it's beautiful. But if you can't, don't be ashamed to say, "Hey, listen, this is not for me." And especially, it was a little different because, the father of my step half sisters and half brother, he wasn't in the picture. But sometimes there are, and so you have to be mature enough to kind of like guide yourself through that. It's not easy. It's not black and white.
I understand that.
So I think the bottom line is, you have to know who you're dating, and you have to know what you're okay with. You saying you're open to it. I think at this point in
because
life,
I wouldn't want to criticize them like, oh, you have kids already with someone else.
But it's not criticizing. See, that's the thing. It's not criticizing them.
It's not like a direct criticism, but for you, it's like, oh, you already have kids, or if you don't have kids, if you don't want kids, it's like a deal breaker type shit. And if they have kids, it's like, no, I don't want to date them because they're gonna, like, she has her own life. She has to deal with them. She has to deal with the baby daddy. She won't be able to do my interests. Like, you're kind of like putting a wall right then and there because of that.
I am.
I would be open to it because I feel like I take life as it goes and I live my life day by day. I guess you kind of prepare more long term. I make sure that what I do today are the right decisions to make sure my long term is secure.
Of course.
Right? And you want to bet on yourself to make sure that that you're gonna be there, the next day. However, as time goes, you want to make sure that you're happy every single day. And if I were to find someone that makes me happy, and if I were to find someone that I can kind of see myself with, and they have children, I will take that day by day and see what happens. I wouldn't be like, oh no, like cut.
I 100%. If you would have asked, me 5 years ago or even 4 years ago, if I wanted to have kids, I would have told you no. And now I'm like, I'm ready to have kids. I want daughters. I'm here for all of that. So when you're 22, 23, and you're saying, hey, I never want to have kids, give it a couple of years. You're still growing, you're still evolving. And this applies to anything that you think you want or you may not want. Things change. Should you cut somebody off indefinite just because you guys don't see eye to eye? Depends at what age you are and really like what your goal is. But if at the end of the day, you have to put your own wants first. If you want kids and the other person doesn't,
no, ultimately you have to put your own interest.
There's no middle ground with that. There's no compromise. And I've seen it, I've heard it. People having kids because the partner wants it, and you're gonna be miserable for the rest of your life. And I'm 100% honest. It's not something where you can compromise. It's not picking a destination, like a vacation destination. It's not deciding what car to get or what walls, like what color you painting your house. It's a big commitment. And so when I meet somebody, I ask the tough questions, man. I don't care. But at the same time,
I go with the flow, man.
Of course, I go with the flow. But like,
I build a solid foundation before anything, because if the foundation is set, and you have a good friendship, a good relationship, very very preliminary. who knows what can come of it. But
Right.
you have to build that foundation before, like I said, if you're going to be going to a first date with nothing, you have a hammer and a screwdriver in the other hand, right? There's no foundation, you can't start building anything. So why would you even start discussing topics that you would, that it's like, all right, you're in a relationship, you want to fix the blinds. That's something that you do once it's established. You want to change the windows. You want to remodel the kitchen. You do that when it's established.
I understand.
But you don't look at a ground floor and say, that window we saw at Home Depot will look so good in that back corner. Because there's nothing. You don't even have anything to build on. So that's why, like, you have to slowly start from the beginning and then see how your mood is going to change based on the circumstances that's being put in front of you.
I understand that. If both of you are open to certain things, that's great. But if one person is,
You're just not. That's it. You're just not.
yeah.
Okay?
If you don't want to have kids, and the other person does, there's 4 other billion people of the opposite sex. Like, you really gonna force yourself to be with this person, make things work?
Man, you gotta travel. Yeah, there's not 4 billion people here. How many billions of people are here in the United States?
And the U.S., 300 million. Let's say 300 million.
All right.
And other than that, opposite sex, half of it, whatever, 150 million. If I have to move to Wisconsin, I guess where I'm going.
Nah, son.
I'm going to Wisconsin.
You're gonna be flipping barrels of hay and mowing lawn all day long.
Yeah. Bottom line, guys, don't be ashamed to have kids. Don't be ashamed to say that you have kids. If you do have kids and you
No, you don't. Apparently, Marvin says you should be ashamed
No,
because he's not gonna even want to talk to you if you do have kids.
I never said that.
But listen, if you do have kids, hit my line. I'm down.
Yeah, you're gonna be a stepdad.
Yeah, I'll be someone's stepdad any day.
That's right. But
Alright,
again, this is a tough conversation.
Yeah, I think it's like everything else. The shoe's not gonna fit everybody, but
Yeah.
it will fit some people. And I think what we discussed will open up the eyes of people who probably have questions like, oh, what do people really think about these scenarios? So if we're able to cover it and people can kind of relate a little bit, then that's fine. I mean, this isn't for everybody.
Yeah.
Because we had someone on our other post like talk about how we're douchebags and stuff like that. Listen, we get it, and that's our opinion. You're entitled to yours. We're entitled to mine. To ours, and if it fits, great. If it doesn't, this is just one point of view that in society you're gonna have to deal with. So it's not gonna be a direct reflection, but this is what we think, and other people will either think the same or different, and that's where we stand.
Listen, and if you have personal experience that you want to share and school us or whatever, let us know.
Please,
Maybe you've had a different outcome or something very unique that happened to you, and you want to share it to us.
Right, because we're saying one thing, but maybe you had an experience that defies what we're saying, or maybe it changed, or maybe you can agree, and any feedback would help us to either, like we say all the time, we'll say it on another show, or we'll just reply in the comments, and any of that somebody else will see, and then we'll be able to address.
Absolutely. But thank you guys for tuning in, and it's been great. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Enjoy your day.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching today's content. We hope you guys enjoyed the show.
And if you did, please make sure to subscribe, like, and comment down below. And follow us on every other social media platform. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Go ahead and follow us, leave us a comment, and any feedback helps. Whatever you leave us, we'll be able to touch up on another show, or we'll be able to get back to you with any other comments. Thank you.
Thank you guys.